responsible for delivering innovation technologies in gum and confections. Dr. Sharkasi has over 27 years of experience in management of food and research and development and manufacturing for top industry companies such as Nestle, Kraft, and PepsiCo. His expertise ranges from development of strategic business and research and development plans to implementation of new technologies and factory management. He earned his PhD in food science and technology from the Pennsylvania State University. He has received recognitions for various advances in technology, has been awarded 6 patents, and is a regular speaker at universities and scientific forums. Dr. Sharkasi is serving on numerous advisory boards. This includes the MPD program at Northwestern University in Chicago and Development in Food Science at Pennsylvania State University, the Office of Research Advisory Committee, College of ACES at the UIUC, the Business School at Robert Morris University in Chicago, and the founding members of the Chicago Innovation Awards Board of Advisors. Dr. Sharkasi is the recipient of the 2009 Penn State School of Agriculture Outstanding Alumni Award. He's married with 2 children. His wife is involved in volunteer work in their home city of Chicago and enjoys art and new scientific discoveries.
Thank you very much. This is my 2nd year here, and I was really honored when Dr. Fawzia called almost 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, and she said, "Would you like to come and join us again?" It was a great honor to be here. I enjoyed the gathering last year. It was a good fun, and I feel honored and that actually asked me to come back. I'm not a medical doctor, so that's not my field, but I did spend about 27 years of my career working with a lot of international companies, and I would share with you at least my experience and the things that I've learned in those 27 years. The background that I used for my slides here, I can get to it. This is basically last year in November, Majda and I and about 15 other friends, we went to Libya, and we camped in the desert for a week, and actually we were sitting on the sand dunes at sundown when we took this picture, and I keep it on my computer, and I feel like actually it is an inspirational because when I look at this and I look at the difficult time that our country is going through right now, I look at it as optimistically, that's a blank sheet of paper. If we forget the troubles of the last 42 years and look at Libya today, God gave us a lot of resources, a lot of talented people, and I look in this room around us, we have a lot of talent. And with this talent and the resources we have, we can take this blank sheet of paper and create a great nation out of that. As I talked to Dr. Najah, and I thank her also for the guidance and what would be an interesting topic to discuss today, and we talked about teamwork, and then the subject of nation building came up, and we said, well, maybe that would be a subject can be timely, and so the topic of my discussion today is really about steps to successful nation building. So before I start, I thank you very much for the invitation and for the discussion we've had to make sure that at least what I present to you is something to be interesting and will maybe create some debate and discussion. And I thank also my dear friend and brother Mahdi Khammas, because he introduced me to this group last time, and I'm indebtful for him to bring me here. Nation building. Now, some just say, well, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm a food doctor. I know tomatoes, I know steak, I know pasta, so what do I know about nation building? As I thought about it for a second, I said, I worked for 4 different companies, and these 4 are the largest in the world, and they're global. Three of them, actually, when I thought about it, they've been in existence before Libya became an independent country. They've been around for 120, 150 years, and they're still successful and still doing business on a global level. And three of them also have a revenue larger than Libya. So in a sense, when you operate in a multinational company where they work in hundreds of countries and they have huge budgets and very complex systems, it's not much different than a country in that sense, because there are some rules, there's some guidelines and some aspects that allow the creation of a nation or an organization. As a matter of fact, these rules apply for a community, apply for a gathering like that one we have here. So I'm basically tapping into the experiences, the things I've learned over the years from these organizations. And as I think about Libya, I mean, Libya is dear to me, and I want to make sure that the thoughts or the experiences that I got that have some application. So my presentation really would be talking more about some of those aspects that would apply to create the new nation of Libya. We are in a country today where, unfortunately, the identity of the Libyan individual has been wiped out. We don't know who we are. And when you have people who have been deprived of their basic human needs, of freedom and self-expression, building the infrastructure, highways, hospitals, and high towers and high-rise buildings, it's very insufficient. It is needed, but it's not enough. There's something a lot more fundamental in building a nation than basically having an infrastructure and having operating systems. So as I start thinking about nation building, and what is nation building, I came across two definitions. And those are, we talk about them, sometimes we use them interchangeably. We say state building, nation building. And as I thought about it, I say, what is nation building? Well, nation building is a required. And that is really basically the mortars, the concrete and the cement and all the things you put in there, and the operating systems and so forth. I put this image in there. It's Dubai. And if I look at Dubai today, the Emir of Dubai decided that he wants to create this great jewel in the desert of Arabia. And they did. They said, I want to have the largest tower in the world. And they got the money. They went and hired companies from the United States, from Europe, from South Korea, and everywhere. They brought them in there in that desert, and they created the largest tower. They wanted to have a ski resort in the middle of the desert. They did. They have a ski resort in the middle of the desert, like you'll be in August, 50 degrees Celsius, and you can be skiing in that desert. It can be done. And we did it in Libya too, by the way. We built hospitals. We have few towers now in Tripoli, and we have highways, and we're building trains. So we did that. So money can do that. Many of you who have had the opportunity to visit Libya, hospitals that were built 2 years ago, they're crumbling. Some of the buildings don't have sewers. Some of them basically don't have all the basic needs and the maintenance that's needed. And so on and on. So the point is, yeah, you can take your money and then you can put it in the state building. That's not enough. So there is something more important. So as I thought of that, I said, then we need to think about nation building in different terms. As I said, this is needed, but not enough. So what's a nation? It's about people. And it's about people that will create their identity, and everyone is someone. We know very well in Libya there's one person today, and only one. And that one is the leader, is the engineer, is the father, is the mother, everything. You cannot create a nation like that. Nations built out of people, and everyone is someone. And that, as I came to this definition, I said, okay, if we talk about a nation and everyone is someone, then what does it take for everyone to be someone? So the next part of my presentation will really be talk about some of these basics that are important for someone to call themselves someone. It is about giving that person the tools that basically give them the tools and a foundation that will increase their capacity to have self-rule. They have the capacity and empowerment to create the economy, to create the societies and the cultural objectives of what we are all about. It is not about the leader, it's about those individuals. I put there 5 basic and very simple principles. Last year when I talked about the leader, and I said a leader cannot be a leader without creating a vision. People don't follow someone that doesn't have a vision. So you need to put that vision in place. And the vision is simple. What is Libya going to be 50 years from now? If your thinking is about Libya a year from now, but Libya a year from now maybe need hospitals, need schools, we can build those. But what does Libya want to be 50 years from now? That vision is so critical. You need a cultural alignment. And a cultural alignment saying that the citizens' attitude toward their country has to be the type of attitude that has pride in that country and have the trust and the legitimacy of the institutions that they have to govern their day-to-day lives. And also they have to have the genuine self-rule. It is about empowerment. You know, somebody sitting in Msallata today and want to travel to Europe, they have to go to Tripoli to get a visa. And forget about the visa. Embassies maybe cannot build, branches in Msallata. That's okay. But why should I go to Tripoli to get a passport? You know, all of you here, and most of you, I'm sure, Libyan American or Canadian, Libyan Canadians. You go to the post office anywhere in this country, you can get your passport. You want the birth certificate, you can get it by mail. When you do that, you create that empowerment. So every single village and town can govern and lead itself. You can't just wait for somebody sitting there in Tripoli telling you how to run your day-to-day life. So that's self-governing and the empowerment to be able to practice your self-rule is so critical. And on top of that, of course, comes accountability. Like, you can't be empowered without being accountable to someone, or accountable basically to your country. And the last piece is creating effective governing institutions. We have to have a way to resolve disputes. It saddens me today when I look at what's going on in Libya. And I know, and we all know here, the atrocities that created by Gaddafi and his troops. It's unimaginable. But I get sad when I hear and I read in the news that somebody in Benghazi or Misrata get killed because he was an ally with Gaddafi. Well, I say no, that's a jungle. That's a jungle. If you have a problem with that person and you think that person did something wrong, there's something called the rule of law. And there's a court, and that person may be tried, and if they're proven guilty, they have to pay. But don't go and kill someone just for the fact that you think they did something wrong. That is totally unacceptable. And it's unacceptable if we are thinking about creating a nation that's going to be a respected nation in the world.